Atlanta, Monday morning. The city wears a gray sky like a morning veil. The streets are damp from last night's rain, the pavement still glistening under the pale light of the rising sun. Somewhere between forgotten warehouses and rusting chain-link fences, a lone sedan pulls to a stop in front of an aging, crumbling building on the east side. From the driver's side steps Imani Carter, 35 years old. Her heels click softly against the wet concrete. She wears a slate-colored suit, smart and tailored, though the faint wear on the cuffs suggests hard work, not luxury. In her hands, she clutches a folder tight to her chest, a thin shield of confidence against an uncertain world. She looks up at the building. For stories of flaking paint and boarded windows loom over her like a memory that refuses to fade. A broken sign hangs crooked over the entryway, the remnants of some long-dead law office or dentist clinic still barely visible beneath layers of dust and graffiti. Imani speaks to herself quietly, her voice low and resolute. This is it. It starts here. She steps through the heavy glass door. The hinges groan in protest. The lobby is silent. Stale air hangs heavy in the dim light. The floors are cracked tile. Ceiling panels droop like wilted flowers. She walks slowly, every footstep echoing like a dare. A paper sign on the elevator door reads out of order. She sighs, turns, and begins climbing the stairs, 3 floors to the old management office, now abandoned, but promised to be reopened for her inspection this morning by the city's development agent. Outside, 2 blocks away, Officer Raymond Holtz sits behind the wheel of a white Atlanta police cruiser. He is finishing his breakfast, a lukewarm ham and egg sandwich wrapped in wax paper, when the call comes through on the monitor. Nothing serious. Just a quiet alert from a nearby business camera flagged for motion at a long vacant building. Raymond taps on the screen. A grainy image appears. A black woman, dressed in formal attire, entering the premises. No visible weapon. No damage. No other cars around. Still, he narrows his eyes. That building has been empty for years. It's posted. It's dangerous. And in Raymond's mind, where silence often sits beside suspicion, the question is immediate and familiar. What's she doing there? Without hesitation, he radios in. Dispatch, this is Unit 4 to 9. I'm checking out a possible unauthorized entry at 302 Marlin Avenue. Building's supposed to be empty. Copy that, Unit 4 to 9. Proceed with caution. He flicks on the engine, sips the last of his coffee, and drives off. Inside the building, Imani reaches the 3rd floor, slightly winded. She steps into a dusty hallway where the windows are shuttered and yellow paint peels off the walls in long, curling strips. She finds the office door and pulls out her key, a temporary pass given by the city's property manager. The lock clicks open. Inside is silence and the scent of mildew. A folding table sits in the middle of the room with a few scattered blueprints. She places her folder down, opens it. Inside are copies of her deposit contract, her renovation proposal, community outreach letters, everything she's worked months to assemble. She starts to unpack her samples and mock-ups when the sound of tires crunching gravel reaches her ears. Downstairs, Raymond steps out of his cruiser and adjusts his utility belt. The cold steel of his sidearm rests securely at his waist. He walks briskly toward the door, scanning the building, his mind already running through possibilities. Drug squat, copper thieves, maybe something worse. The lobby greets him with silence. He draws in a breath and begins to climb. Imani hears the footsteps echo up the stairwell. She pauses. For a moment, she wonders if it's the agent she was scheduled to meet. Then she hears the heavy clank of a duty belt, the distinct creak of a holster. Seconds later, Raymond steps into the hallway. He sees her at the far end, holding papers. His face hardens not with fear, but with assumption. "Ma'am, step away from the desk. Now." Imani turns, surprised. "Excuse me?" Raymond raises his voice slightly. "You are trespassing on private property. Identify yourself and explain why you're here." Imani stands tall. Her voice is calm, practiced. "I'm Imani Carter. I have an appointment. I'm the buyer of this property. I have the documents here." She holds out the folder. Raymond walks forward and snatches the folder from her hand, barely glancing at the front page. "This looks like a printout. You expect me to believe you're buying a building like this?" She speaks carefully. "That's exactly what I expect. I'm a licensed investor. The city has approved this project." "The development office." He interrupts her. "I didn't ask for a lecture. I asked you to leave. Now." She steps back, raising her hands slightly. Not in surrender, but in disbelief. "Are you serious? Do I look like I'm joking?" He moves closer. "You don't belong here, lady. Let's go." Imani clenches her jaw. Her voice tightens, but she remains composed. "I have every right to be here." Raymond stares her down. There's a tension in his eyes, not born of danger, but of deep, unspoken belief. A belief about people like her, about neighborhoods like this, about what does and doesn't look like ownership. He reaches for her arm. "Let's not make this harder than it needs to be." Imani pulls away. "I'm not going anywhere. Not until you call your supervisor and confirm what I'm saying." Raymond exhales. Then, abruptly, he spins her around. "You're resisting now. Don't make me cuff you." From outside, a passerby pulls out a phone, starts filming. "Hey man, what's going on?" "She didn't do anything." Raymond doesn't look. His grip tightens on her wrist as he escorts her down the stairs. The lobby feels colder this time. Imani's shoes scrape the floor as he pushes her toward the exit. Outside, traffic hums. People stop. "Watch." The camera phone follows them. She's not screaming. She doesn't cry. But her eyes are wide, locked in a state between disbelief and fury. Raymond mutters quietly, just loud enough for her to hear. "You don't belong here. You never did." She doesn't answer. The wind blows gently through her curls as he lets her go on the sidewalk. Her folder falls to the ground. Papers scatter like dead leaves. She kneels slowly to pick them up. A final look passes between them. Raymond turns and walks back to his cruiser. As he drives away, the camera still recording, Imani stands on the sidewalk, alone. The building looms behind her. She closes her eyes and swears this will not be the end of her story. It will be the beginning. The light above Imani's small kitchen table flickers as she pours coffee into a chipped mug. The apartment is clean but cramped. Faded photographs line the walls, her mother, strong and weathered, standing in front of a church. A teenage Imani in a graduation cap, holding a scholarship letter with both hands like it might vanish. Outside, the sounds of the neighborhood drift in. Children yelling, a distant siren, the bass from a car stereo 2 blocks away. She sits, staring at her phone screen. The video of her encounter with Officer Holtz has already spread. 100 comments, most sympathetic, some skeptical, a few venomous. Her hands tremble slightly as she types a response and then deletes it. She knows the moment is bigger than a tweet, bigger than anger. Her chest rises and falls slowly. She whispers her mother's favorite verse under her breath. a verse about building bridges where there were once walls. She pulls open her laptop and reviews her files again. Title documents, contractor estimates, community grant letters. Everything is legitimate. Everything is in order. She should be at that building today, measuring windows and planning youth training programs. Instead, she is sitting in a one-bedroom apartment in South Atlanta, nursing bruises not on her body but on her pride. Raymond Holtz sits behind his desk at Precinct 9. The fluorescent lights buzz above him. His partner, Officer Melendez, leans against the filing cabinet, sipping soda. "You look like you saw a ghost, Ray." Raymond doesn't look up from the incident report. "Just a trespasser this morning. Thought it might be something else. Turned out she had a bunch of paperwork." He shrugs, but it doesn't sit well. Melendez raises an eyebrow. "A bunch of paperwork or actual legal documents?" Raymond pauses. "She claimed she was the buyer. Said she had an appointment. All dressed up, carrying folders. Sounded convincing, I guess." Melendez frowns. "So was she trespassing or not?" Raymond says nothing. Melendez laughs under his breath and shakes his head. "You gotta stop seeing ghosts, man. Not everyone out there is a problem." Raymond exhales slowly. That moment at the building replays in his head. Her eyes, her voice, her refusal to back down. He remembers the way the papers scattered across the sidewalk like feathers from a wounded bird. He closes the file and stands up. "Gonna check something." He walks down the hall to the admin office and asks for the building registry. The clerk raises an eyebrow but complies. A minute later, Raymond is staring at the listing for 302 Marlin Avenue. Buyer name, Amani Carter. Purchase status, pending final inspection. He stands motionless for several seconds. He mutters to himself, "Damn." For a man like Raymond, son of a war veteran, raised with tight rules and tighter beliefs, the blow is quiet but deep. He had been wrong. Not about a policy, about a person, and the realization scrapes at his gut. Meanwhile, Amani walks the long corridor of City Hall. She has a meeting with the development board, and though she wears the same suit from the day of the incident, her posture is different. Straighter, firmer. She hands over a copy of the footage to the board chair and requests an official statement be made clearing her name. They offer apologies. Hollow ones. She accepts them politely, knowing full well apologies do not repair trust. Only action does. Outside the meeting room, her phone rings. "Hey, you still planning to speak at the launch next week?" It's Simone, her co-organizer. Of course, Imani replies, "The work doesn't stop because someone doubted me." Simone laughs. "You're stronger than me." Imani smiles faintly. "No, just more practiced at standing through storms." The day of the launch arrives. The building looks transformed. Fresh paint in vibrant colors covers the once dead walls. Bright banners flutter from the windows. Inside, lights hum with new electricity. A crowd has gathered, buzzing with curiosity and anticipation. Reporters adjust microphones. Community members mill about with coffees and pamphlets. Children run between chairs, laughing, not yet aware of the history being made. Raymond stands near the back. He wears plain clothes, no badge. He had not planned to come. But something pulled him here, maybe guilt, maybe curiosity, maybe both. He keeps his arms folded and eyes low. A microphone screeches slightly as the event begins. Simone takes the stage first, welcoming the guests and sharing the purpose of the new community center. A space for young entrepreneurs, artists, local health initiatives. Then she introduces the woman behind the vision. Imani steps up. There is silence for a moment, and then applause ripples through the room. She speaks with clarity, not volume. Her voice wraps the room in quiet power. When I first saw this building, it looked like something most people would forget. But I saw something else. I saw what it could become. A place for rebirth, for opportunity, for ownership. She looks around the room, then pauses. And yes, some people believed I didn't belong here. Some even tried to remove me. But I am not here for revenge. I am here because I believe we can rebuild more than buildings. We can rebuild belief. Her eyes land on Raymond. She does not flinch. The silence in the room becomes profound. Raymond cannot move. Her words have landed in a place he didn't know existed inside him. Imani continues. The way we look at each other reflects the way we look at ourselves as a society. Suspicion doesn't start with facts. It starts with fear. But hope begins when we choose to see each other fully. She steps back. The room erupts in applause. Raymond stays frozen, clapping slowly. Quietly, the applause washes over him but does not cleanse him. As the crowd moves into the open rooms, exploring, taking photos, laughing, Raymond stands near the window, watching her speak with attendees. Her presence is undeniable. Her dignity is unshaken. He takes a breath and steps forward. Just a few feet, then stops again. Not yet. Not here. But soon. He knows what he has to do. The rain has just stopped falling when Raymond finds himself standing outside the newly refurbished building again. The sun is cutting through the clouds in long golden streaks, glinting off the wet pavement. People are still coming and going, teenagers in hoodies, mothers with strollers, a few older folks leaning on canes but standing tall. He pushes the door open. The interior smells of new wood and old determination. The walls are covered in art made by local students. There is laughter echoing down the hallway. The community center is alive. Raymond steps carefully, unsure of his presence, unsure of his purpose, but knowing he can no longer avoid what has been growing inside him. He sees her before she sees him. Imani is crouched beside a teenage boy, showing him how to frame a picture with his hands as if through a camera lens. She is patient. Her voice is soft. The boy smiles. Raymond hesitates. Then she turns, sees him. Her smile falters, then vanishes. She stands. He walks toward her, removing his cap and holding it in both hands like it weighs more than it should. Miss Carter. She nods once. Officer Holtz. Raymond clears his throat. His voice comes out quieter than expected. I came to say something. She crosses her arms. She is calm, but guarded. You already said plenty that day. Raymond winces. He takes a slow breath, then lifts his gaze to meet hers. I was wrong. Not just about you. About a lot of things. I saw what I expected to see, and I let that blind me to the truth. She does not respond. Her expression remains unreadable. I do not expect forgiveness. That is not why I came. He looks down at his shoes. But I needed you to know that I saw what you built here, and I see now what I refused to see before. There is a long silence. Just the hum of a vending machine and the distant sound of kids laughing in the other room. Imani finally speaks. Her voice is not angry. It is weary. You humiliated me, not just as a woman, as a symbol. You reinforced what so many of us have to fight every day just to be seen as legitimate. Raymond nods slowly. I know, and I know that no speech changes that. But maybe 1,000 actions will. Imani studies him. She searches his face for signs of performance. There are none. Only a tired man who looks like he is waking up from a long sleep. Then she says, "What are you willing to do beyond saying sorry?" Raymond replies immediately, "I want to help here. Off duty. Volunteer. Listen, I want to understand what I spent too many years assuming I already did." She narrows her eyes slightly. "Not to save your conscience. You understand that?" Raymond nods. "To learn. To unlearn." Imani watches him a moment longer, then exhales. The tension in her shoulders loosens, only slightly. "You can start by sitting in on the youth panels. We talk about policing, equity, safety, real stories." Raymond looks her in the eye. "I will be there." She nods once. Not approval, not acceptance, but acknowledgement. That is enough for now. 3 months pass. The center is thriving. The main hall is now filled every Saturday with young people pitching ideas, rehearsing plays, designing websites. There is a new mural being painted on the west wall, a phoenix rising over a city skyline. Raymond arrives quietly each week. He no longer wears his uniform here. He wears jeans and old boots and brings coffee for the staff. At first the kids side-eye him. One even asks him point blank, "Ain't you that cop from the video?" He does not flinch. "Yeah, I was." "And you hear why now? To shut up and listen." The kid raises an eyebrow, then shrugs. "Okay then. Just do not talk over nobody." Raymond smiles faintly. "Deal." He learns more in those weekly sessions than in 20 years of training. About fear, about mistrust, about fathers in prison and mothers working double shifts, about dignity stolen and reclaimed, about what community safety really means. One afternoon, Imani watches him from across the room. He is helping a young woman set up chairs for an event. She laughs at something he says. He looks at ease. Not performative. Not trying to prove anything. Simone nudges Imani with her elbow. "He's changed, huh?" Imani nods slowly. "He's changing. That's the difference." Later that day, Raymond finds Imani in her office. A small plaque sits on her desk now, founder and director. He knocks gently on the doorframe. "Got a minute?" She gestures for him to come in. He sits. "I have been thinking about that day, the one at the building." She raises an eyebrow. "Still haunted?" Raymond chuckles grimly. "Every day, but not in the way you think." "I realized something." He leans forward. "You did not just change this place. You changed the way I walk through the world. I can't unsee it now. The things I never noticed. The people I never listened to." Imani rests her chin on her hand. "And what are you going to do about it?" Raymond breathes deeply. "Keep showing up. Keep getting uncomfortable. Keep stepping back so others can step forward." She watches him. Then she says quietly, "That is the kind of officer we need. The kind who does not lead with a badge, but with his ears." Raymond nods. "I'm learning." She smiles slightly. "And the city needs to see it too." He tilts his head. "What do you mean?" She reaches into her drawer and pulls out a flyer. "Community Forum. Public Safety. Featuring Officer Holtz." Raymond stares at it. "You want me to speak?" She nods. "Not to make amends. To show the arc. To help others in your shoes start theirs." He swallows. "That's a heavy thing." Imani's smile widens. "Rebuilding always is." Outside the sun spills through the window. There is laughter in the hallway. The city breathes. A bridge is being built. One conversation at a time. prejudice does more than wound individuals. It erodes the soul of entire communities. But there is power in discomfort. There is courage in acknowledgement. And there is hope always in the quiet work of repair. Because healing does not begin with grand gestures. It begins the moment we choose to see each other fully. If you were moved by Imani's story and Raymond's transformation, the next story on our channel takes you deeper into another real-world tale of redemption and rebuilding. Tap the next video. This journey is just beginning.